Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. It is good to see you. Good to be with you here this Monday morning, day after Mother's Day. I know we are also replayed in the evenings and on weekends from time to time. And so if that's you and you're listening to us during one of our replays, welcome in. It's good to have you. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson, your host. It is good to have you. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, it's good to be seen. Welcome in. If you're interested in watching us on Facebook Live, you just head on over to Facebook and search for KHTS Radio, and we should be up there on their feed. You can peek in here to the studio. I know invariably people always look at me like I'm a kook, which of course I am. But they wonder why I'm sitting in the studio with my mask on and all by myself, and that's because I'm not by myself. I can't make any of these things work. I don't know what buttons to push or anything like that. I've got my fearless engineer Shane here with me, and so he and I are both rocking our masks, staying about 6-7 feet apart. Morning, Shane. How are you, sir?
Happy Monday, Matt.
It is a happy Monday. It is a great Monday. This is a special edition of Eye on the Valley. You know, we typically come to you on Friday morning sharing everything about SCVi and iLEAD charter schools, but while everyone is away at home and doing their distance learning thing, we are here to support you now Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And we're calling this special edition Homeschooling Answers, and it's brought to you by KHTS in collaboration with SCVi and iLEAD schools. Again, we come to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., providing support and updates in the community and what's going on in education, and all the different things that are going on around town. We are also continually building and working on a website that's there to support you, Homeschooling Answers. So if your kids need a little bit of support, if they're looking for something a little bit more engaging, exciting, something fun yet deeply rigorous, head on over to that website, Homeschooling Answers. You can search by grade level. You can search by the subject area you're interested in. You've also got plenty of parent resources there to help you. I know as time continues to wear on, I think we're in week 9 now, things can get a little tense around the house. And so we've got some support there for you as well. So as I said, happy Monday. We were talking about before we went on the air. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Did you celebrate, Mom? Well, you better have. Shane, how about you? Did you get a chance to celebrate Mom yesterday?
Yeah, we did a little bit of late Mother's Day shopping, ended up getting her a happy birthday card, but nonetheless, I bought it anyway, I signed it, I put exactly what happened, said, Mom, I still love you no matter what, and she liked it. So we had a good day, did a Google Meet with all the grandparents, and we actually got everybody on. So
oh, nice.
It was, yeah, a really nice time.
That is great. Sometimes it's tough to get the grandparents on the digital media, but it's good to hear that.
It's taking some practice, but we got everybody on, so it's good.
That is good news. I'm glad to hear I wasn't the only one out there driving myself crazy yesterday morning. I had ordered a subscription for Mom online, but I was out looking for some fresh flowers, and boy, were places wiped out. You know, we had Big T on Friday, and he said, I'm still having a hard time believing all this, but Tony said that 25% of all flowers bought in the United States every year are bought on Mother's Day.
25%, really?
It seems really high to me, although yesterday I was believing it as I ran from store to store looking for flowers, and eventually found actually some that were just fresh out of the box, had just come off the van, so I was able to get some flowers for those special ladies in my life, mom, stepmom, and folks like that. So it was good, and then we stopped by and had brunch with Mom. That was always nice. Brunch is a must-do, right? It seems like that's the go-to meal for Mother's Day. But we ordered brunch from our friends at Salt Creek. Oh man, that was good.
It was good.
Yeah, we may need to. Now that I'm thinking about it, we may need to end the show a little early today because they've got me thinking about. We had bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
And Able Skeevers. Do you know what Able Skeevers are?
No, I don't.
They're like Danish pancakes, but they're round. They're like these little pancake balls. They're so good.
Oh, really? Okay.
Smother them with syrup. Oh, they're so good. So we have bacon and eggs, Able Skeevers. We had their wild potatoes, their diced potatoes that were so good. And then we topped that off with a slice of prime rib. Oh, absolutely incredible. Stuffed myself. It was amazing. And then, just kind of hung out on the patio and relaxed and enjoyed some smooth jazz with Mom and just settled into an amazing afternoon. The weather was fantastic yesterday.
Yeah, it was. It was a perfect day for Mother's Day, too. I'm glad it ended up opening up some awesome weather. That way we could actually have a good day.
Yep. And it's going to be a gorgeous week this week as well. Just some more beautiful weather. It was a little bit foggy and cool this morning. It was really nice. And now we're heading into just a gorgeous day. We're going to have an amazing week. So excited about this week. We've got a lot coming up. We've got, as always, the mayor is coming in tomorrow, and we'll check with him. He's giving us the scoop tomorrow. We'll be talking to him just a few hours before the city council meeting tomorrow night, so we'll get a sneak preview on that. We've got Griffin Locke. He is the 16-year-old producer that joined us just a week or two ago. He's going to be joining us for Griffin's top 10 movies of all time. So make sure that you've got your list ready to go and ready to debate and defend. So we're going to have a great week. You all know that I love to celebrate the major holidays like Mother's Day. I love to celebrate the minor holidays as well. You know, we can continue to celebrate Mom today because today is another day that's all about women. So, guys, make sure you step on up. But it's a little bit different day today. Today we're celebrating a couple of days. Today is National Women's Checkup Day. It is National Women's Checkup Day, and it's also National Eat What You Want National Eat What You Want Day. So, you know, that's a holiday I can get down with. But let's make a deal. We've got to be responsible, okay? First of all, ladies, I'm talking to just the ladies. I want to make sure that you're current on all your checkups. Are you current? Have you had that one and that one? And yeah, I'm even talking about your dental cleanings. It's tough with the stay-at-home order, but, you know, these services are essential. Are you up to date on your checkups? If you are, then go ahead and eat whatever you want today, okay? So if you're up to date on your checkups, you eat whatever you want. You got to stay healthy. We need you. But if you're not up to date, that's okay. You've still got a way of celebrating today. If you are not current on all your checkups and you're thinking, you know what, Matt, I'm a little bit past due on that one right there, then you know what? Pick up the phone or jump on the computer and make that appointment. Get yourself at least ready to be current. And then, so if you're not current, make those appointments today. Once you've made those appointments, then you're good to go to celebrate the next part of the day, Eat What You Want Day. Okay, so once you've made those appointments, you go ahead and eat what you want. Okay, so you're good to go. All right, now I know the guys are sitting there thinking, all right, what about me, Matt? This is just for the ladies today? No. Guys, you've got a huge responsibility in this, right? We play a big part. You want to celebrate National Eat What You Want Day? Then call one of those special ladies that you celebrated yesterday. Call one of the special women in your life and make sure that she's up to date on all her checkups. And let her know how much you love her, how much you care, and you want to make sure that she's taken care of, that she's taking care of herself. Make sure she's up to date on her checkups. And if she is, you've done your job. Go ahead and crack that refrigerator and eat what you want. If she's not, encourage her to make those appointments that she needs to make, and then we're good to go. We can eat what we want, and we'll all just, we'll just all double down on our exercise tomorrow, okay? And we'll be good. Is that a deal? We got a deal? All right, cool. All right, we've got a lot to talk about today. There's a lot going on. We've got some sadness in the news. We lost a couple of amazing entertainers over the weekend. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later on in the show. We've got some exciting landmarks coming up, and we'll talk about what's going to be happening a little bit later this week. But I want to get to our first guest. We've got a great show today. We've got a couple of amazing teenagers that are going to be joining us this first hour. We've got the founder of the charitable organization Smile SCV. It works a little bit different than maybe the charities that you're typically used to, but Regina is going to be joining us here in just a minute. That's right, Smile SCV is run by Saugus High School student Regina Lee. Yep, she's still in high school, but she is out there working it and making a difference. So proud of her. We'll be talking to her in just a minute. She's really going to inspire you. We'll also be meeting this hour Casandra Crossman from SCVi Charter School during our senior spotlight a little bit later on today, when we'll be honoring individual seniors from our area high schools during this time that should be an exciting time for our seniors, except the whole pandemic stay-at-order has really put a hitch in their plans. And so we'll be talking to Cassandra a little bit later this hour. Hour number 2 of our show, we'll meet Keri Aaver from College of the Canyons. She is the Associate Director of Job Placement for Workforce Development. And so she is doing some amazing things, helping support and get kids moving from get students from moving from COC into the amazing career of their choice. And of course, we'll be joined by our friend and official licensed marriage and family therapist, Kristina de Bree. Got a very exciting show, so let's go ahead and get started. My first guest, as I said, is Regina Lee. Regina is a student at Saugus High School who's created her own charitable organization called Smile SCV. She saw a need in her community, and she stepped up to fill it. And, you keep your eyes on Regina because she's a leader, and she is a huge part of the bright future of Santa Clarita. Regina, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. So before we start with Smile SCV, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mentioned that you go to Saugus High School. What year are you? How long have you lived in Santa Clarita? What are your interests? Are there anything that you're involved in? Tell us, who is Regina?
So like you said, my name is Regina Lee. I am in 9th grade at Saugus High. I've lived here all my life, so 14 years. Other activities I'm involved in is Saugus High's ASB. I'm also in YMCA's Model Legislative and Court. I started a school program at North Park Elementary, but unfortunately that got canceled due to COVID-19. I also volunteer at community service events such as the City Marathon, graffiti removal, and I signed up for other events, but those got canceled too.
Wow, it sounds like you're really active in all different kinds of things where you're helping out and developing in your leadership. Did I hear you right? You're a freshman, you're 14 years old?
Yes.
Wow, that is amazing, and yet you're taking the reins for our community and you're out there leading. That is so inspiring. Well, we haven't even heard about it yet, but Regina, thank you so much for your leadership. So you mentioned COVID-19 a couple times. That's really shaken up our lives a little bit. I know you're doing school from home like the rest of us are. This is, I believe, week 9. How is school going for you?
So obviously online schooling is not the same as regular school, but my teachers are doing the best they can to make sure that we still get that same experience, even though that means doing it virtually.
Well, that's cool. That's great to hear that you're still able to stay connected and get the high-quality education that Saugus High School and really all the schools in this valley are known for. So what do you miss most about being on campus?
So I probably miss the most, I probably miss the atmosphere. I miss going into class, seeing my peers, my friends, smiling and laughing. I'm missing my teachers who have worked endlessly this past year throughout these all hectic events. And I miss getting dismissed by that bell, which I used to think was really annoying. But now that I look back at it, I really miss that sound.
That's really interesting. I've never had someone come on and say they missed the school bell. But yeah, it's part of that whole environment that you talk about. High school is really a great environment and a great time in our lives. And you guys, especially over at Saugus High School, have really had a rough year. But I know it's not all bad being off campus, is it? Is there anything that you're enjoying about being at home?
So I picked up actually a few traits. So I learned how to be independent. I learned that procrastination is not the key to success. I learned how to time manage without having that set schedule that we used to have at school. And another really important thing that I picked up was how not to fight with my little brother. So that's been really helpful.
That is great. That's good to hear that you're finding that silver lining. And those skills are really going to come in handy. Well, I'm sure they already are, because, like I said, you're not waiting until high school or even college graduation to start leading and working. And so those time management, those self-management skills are so important. Glad to hear you're getting along with your little brother as well. So let's talk about Smile SCV. Where did this idea come from? How did this start?
So it originated in early April when I was watching the news, and I saw that our unemployment rate in our nation was increasing substantially, and so were the number of people going to food pantries across the United States. So I wanted to be able to, on a smaller scale, help Santa Clarita, who I also knew was suffering due to the shutdown. So I was going to do a food drive at first, but I knew that people have that fear of going outside, especially due to the COVID-19. And so I wanted to be able to make sure that this donation was as easy and efficient as I can make it. So that's why I switched to a monetary donation online so that people can easily donate in the comfort of their own homes.
Well, that is fantastic, and yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't really think about the idea of putting together something cool like a food drive being difficult during these times. You're right. It's tough for people to get together and participate in events like that. So really ingenious, Heavy. Great idea. So can you talk about then, you get this idea, okay? So you've got a great idea, and you know, a lot of us have great ideas, but then they kind of fizzle. Where did you go from there? Because like I said, a lot of kids your age, a lot of adults my age come up with great ideas, but they don't know where to take them. Once you came up with your idea, what did you do in order to make it reality?
So I called City Hall, the Chamber of Commerce, the Economics Department in our city. I even tried emailing the mayor, but because unessential departments were closed at that time, I couldn't get in touch with anybody.
Oh, gosh.
So thankfully, I found Santa Clarita Coalition, who at the time was in charge of the Saugus Strong fundraiser. And at this point, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know who to contact. I didn't know what organizations to work with. I just had this really big urge to help the people in Santa Clarita. So thankfully, I met Mrs. Jerry Goldsman, who was so supportive, so eager to help, and she's just a wonderful person. And she suggested a few nonprofit organizations, and the two that I thought would help the most in these times was the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Clarita and Santa Clarita Grocery.
Okay, and so those are two really important organizations in our community that serve two very, very different needs. So Santa Clarita Grocery, we've had the CEO of Santa Clarita Grocery on our show before, Bradley Gross. What they do is they provide groceries for those in need. So folks, whether it was before the pandemic and we're going through tough times, or now affected by the COVID-19 shutdown and things like that, they can go and get their groceries completely free of charge. These are groceries that come directly to Santa Clarita Grocery from other grocery outlets like Walmart and places like that, and so folks can get their grocery needs taken care of for free. Now, the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Clarita is something we're actually going to be talking about a little bit later this week, Regina. We're going to be talking with CEO Matt Nelson, and they provide after-school care. They provide summer care for so many kids, and I've heard so many testimonials about how important the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Clarita has been in their lives. And you know, we'll be talking with Matt, like I said, a little bit later in the week to see what they're doing to serve kids. But I know that that donations to those two organizations are really important, and I'm sure that that's going to be those are some things that are really helping them out. So Regina, I do want to continue talking about your work with these two organizations and what you're doing for them. We do have to cut for a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back. We're talking to 14-year-old, excuse me. She'll be 15 in 2 weeks. We're talking to 14-year-old philanthropist and founder of Smile SCV, Regina Lee. We need to take a quick break, but don't go away. We'll continue our conversation when we come back. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Your building sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new, larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you with a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new, bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
As the stay-at-home order continues, Burger King is committed to following state and federal safety guidelines when it comes to serving you, the customer. Although in-restaurant dining has closed, pickup and delivery service continues. The current hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can mobile order through the BK app for pickup, or you can use any of the delivery services like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Postmates. Burger King on Lyons at the 5 Freeway, now with service at 2 drive-through windows.
He broke records and piloted the F-18 Super Hornet in combat. Answering our nation's call, he served with honor. Then Mike Garcia returned home to his family, to a far worse California from where he grew up. Now, Garcia's next mission: cut taxes, clean up homelessness in our cities. With California on the brink, we need a fighter to answer the call once again. Mike Garcia for Congress.
I'm Mike Garcia, and I approve this message.
It's allergy season again. You've tried it all, yet your sinuses continue to be a problem. Try something different, something holistic, something that will really work. Acupuncture. Kathleen Keneally is Santa Clarita's acupuncture innate specialist. She's been treating many of your neighbors and their children for allergies, sinuses, headaches, and pain. Find out how acupuncture can improve the quality of your life. Call Kathleen Keneally for a free phone consultation. 252-4100. 252-4100. Acupuncture. It really works.
Power Automotive is open for you during these challenging times. They've taken extra precautions to keep their employees and customers safe. What makes Power Automotive different? They offer a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty on all their repair services, all makes and models, autos, trucks, diesels, and even RVs. Mention KHTS and get 20% off parts. Power Automotive, on Soledad between Whites Canyon and Sierra Highway, behind Denny's. Power Automotive will show you why they've been voted Santa Clarita's #1 repair shop for the last 18 years.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 on the FM dial and 1220 AM. This is SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley's Homeschooling Answers with Matt Watson. We're talking this morning with 14-year-old philanthropist and founder of Smile SCV, Regina Lee. You know, it always impresses me. I don't know. When I was growing up, I kind of had this idea that I had to wait until I graduated college or maybe at least high school to start getting involved in anything. And a lot of times we look at our kids as people in development. And while they're continually developing, I love seeing, especially this generation, they know that humans are continually and constantly developing, which allows them to continually grow as they get into adulthood. But they also know that they don't need to wait for any kind of magical birthday or any kind of a graduation or celebration in their life before they start participating. Regina is out there. She saw a community in need and decided to step up and start meeting those needs. We were talking before the break with Regina about how she is supporting and bringing donations to 2 very important organizations in our community. The Santa Clarita Grocery, which provides groceries free of charge to those most in need, and also the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Clarita. Regina, welcome back. Tell us, why did you choose these 2 organizations? What about these organizations made you want to support them?
So I chose Boys and Girls Club of Santa Clarita and Santa Clarita Grocery because each of these organizations pull 2 different aspects of everyday life. So, for example, Boys and Girls Club is in charge of physically and mentally helping children's health, while Santa Clarita Grocery is in charge of distributing food and fresh groceries to those in need, like you said, which is really necessary. And they both directly help our community, and they've been so active in making sure that they get in touch with those that are in need, and they have been even more active after this shutdown.
You know, they have. I spoke with Bradley Gross at the very beginning of the shutdown, and then I spoke with him just a couple weeks ago, and he's not just continuing to provide the service that he always has. You're right. He's growing it. He's out there on the edge, making things better and adapting to what the needs are right now. That is fantastic. So inspiring what you're doing, Regina. So tell me, what comes after this? Is this something that's temporary during the pandemic? Because, you know, the COVID-19 crisis is going to end sooner or later. And I know all of us are crossing our fingers that it's sooner rather than later, but we'll do what we need to do. But do you see this charity carrying on even after the pandemic, or is this, like I said, just more of a seasonal thing?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I was only focusing on COVID-19, but I realized in the past year, with all these unprecedented events, people need this type of outlet to help them during these hard times. So today, Smile SCV is for COVID-19, But for the future, it will forever be an ongoing project because the people in SCV are just so nice, and I just want to repay them for all their kindness.
That is beautiful. You're absolutely right. We've got a great community, and I kind of poke fun at it, but we nicknamed ourselves Awesome Town a few years back, and that does come from somewhere. We've got an amazing community that is continually supporting and working to help one another, and I love that you're weighing into that arena, and glad to hear that it's going to continue forward. What about you? I know it's a long way off. You mentioned you're a freshman, you're 14 years old, so it's probably an unfair question. But do you have any idea what you want to do after high school? Do you have any plans after high school? If you don't, that's quite all right, because like I said, you've got a long way to go before you get there.
So I really want to be a prosecutor or a defense attorney.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I want to be involved in constitutional law or criminal law, but I do know that I first need to get into college, and before that, I need to pass my AP Bio exam. That's next week.
There we go. So you've got those stepping stones. All right. So you've got that AP exam coming up next week. It's been odd trying to figure out what the AP exams are looking like this year. And you think you're ready to go?
No.
Okay. Well, then I tell you what, we won't keep you very much longer. I have just a couple more questions for you, and then you can go ahead and get back to studying. Wow, it sounds like you've got an amazing future in front of you as you continue to move Smile SCV forward. How can our listeners get involved? As they're listening, I'm sure folks are getting very inspired with you and want to support this cause that you've put together. How can our listeners give? Where do they go?
Sure. So the first way is obviously to promote it, just to share it. Word of mouth is the most foremost way to get Smile SCV out there. The second way is if you know any business or restaurant owners that would be willing to partner with Smile SCV, please contact me via Facebook. The ID is Smile SCV, and it has a huge yellow logo. You cannot miss it. The final way is Santa Clarita has more than 200,000 residents, so even $1 can make a difference. If each person can just donate $1, that would be so helpful to those that are currently in need. And just to reiterate, 100% of donations, minus the PayPal fee, goes to the Boys and Girls Club and Santa Clarita Grocery. So you can just donate by going to Santa Clarita Coalition website.
That is fantastic. So we all know that PayPal takes their cut, but you're not taking any kind of administrative fee. You have no overhead and costs. After PayPal, everything goes straight into these organizations. That's correct?
Yes.
That's great to hear. Again, so you can just head on over to Facebook and look for Smile SCV, or you can go to Regina's, or it's not just Regina's website. There's a lot of other charities up there, SantaClaritaCoalition.org. Now, once they go to the website, they do need to look for that bright yellow logo again, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. That is so exciting. Now, you are an amazing young person, Regina, and you're so inspiring. Do you have any advice for our younger listeners out there? Anybody that would be your age, a little older, a little younger? Anything that you would say to them to encourage them?
Well, I think throughout this entire journey, I've learned just to persevere. And I know that sounds really cliche. You hear your parents say it, you hear your teachers say it. But through this project, I've seen it really does work. So I would say just don't give up. If you want to make your fiction your reality, you just have to keep pushing no matter the obstacles you face.
Oh, that is fantastic. How inspiring. You are an amazing young person, Regina. We are so proud of you. We're so inspired for you. Thank you for all that you're doing. Will you do us a favor? You've got my phone number. Will you keep us posted on how things are going?
Of course.
Fantastic. Again, thanks for joining us. Go ahead and get back to that AP exam.
Thank you for having me.
You take care. Regina Lee with Smile SCV. She's doing some amazing things. How inspiring. 14 years old. She sees what's going on the news and doesn't get depressed by it. She has that empathy and heart of compassion for others and says, well, what can I do? And steps up and starts rallying support for some of those local charities and organizations in need during this time. It is so beautiful. You know, we talked a little bit earlier in the show about all the different things going on. There's quite a bit going on this week. You know, sad news in the news this weekend. Don't know if you heard. It's interesting. I hadn't seen a whole lot on social media about it over the weekend, but we lost singer and entertainer Little Richard. You know, he had some pretty groundbreaking music and such an amazing personality. I think every time Little Richard's music would come on the radio, it's just so tough to not dance. And so we lost another great one over the weekend, Little Richard. We also lost, I saw just this morning, we lost Jerry Stiller, actor, comedian, entertainer. Jerry Stiller is Ben Stiller's father. If you're not familiar with Jerry Stiller, he starred in Zoolander with his son Ben, and was also a huge part on The King of Queens. And he passed this morning of natural causes. Just something that I saw pop up on my feed this morning. So very, very sad. So yeah, had those, a little bit of sad news. We've got some things going on around our community. You know, we've got that special election coming up. Not so much later this week. Tomorrow is the last day for voting. A lot of us, most of us, are voting by mail in this special election here in the 25th district I'm talking about. I believe most of you within earshot, if you're able to hear me over the radio waves, live in the 25th district. If you're joining us remotely, and you may be coming from all over the world. But here in the 25th district, representing the Santa Clarita Valley, Acton, Agua Dulce, what else? The Lancaster area, most of the Antelope Valley. That is the 25th congressional district. You're probably aware. You've probably seen all the commercials on TV and heard them on the radio. We are replacing our congressperson for about the next 6 to 8 months here, and we've got a runoff election between Mike Garcia and Christy Smith. We also have polling places. This actually took me by surprise. I didn't realize it until last week. My friend here at the radio station, Lisa, let me know, yeah, you can head on over to COC, and there's a couple of other locations where you can actually go to cast your ballot physically, if that's something that you prefer to do. If you didn't get your vote by mail ballot, or if that's something that you prefer not to do and you want to cast your ballot in person, go ahead and look it up. I do know they've got the one location there at COC, but there's about 8 to 10 other locations in and around the valley that you can go vote. Very important election. You know, in fact, it's getting a lot of national attention as well, as the result of this election will play a big part in this current congressional session. And you know, obviously, speculation is that it'll play a big part moving forward for the next couple of years. So do your civic duty. Make sure that you get out and vote. We talked with Regina, and we know how important it is that we all get involved in our community, and that's one of the easiest yet one of the most important ways that we can get involved in our local governments and make sure that our voice is being heard is by voting. So make sure that you do get out and vote. We're going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we've got our next guest already on the line. We're going to be meeting another one of our Valley's talented graduating seniors. For more information on how COVID-19 is affecting our Valley, go to hometownstation.com and click on the red banner. There you'll find tips on the economy, health updates, special business hours, and much, much more. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
At iLEAD Agua Dulce, we believe the most important thing a child can learn in school is who they are. Life's real tests are never standardized, which is why we've developed an individual-based curriculum that values exploration, cooperation, and creativity. As our learners grow, so do we. Our tuition-free charter school is currently enrolling grades TK through 7th and adding 8th grade in 2020. Your young learner will be immersed in a unique environment where possibility and self-discovery are at the core of every experience. The Agua Dulce campus features beautiful indoor and outdoor spaces for hands-on inspiration, including a robotics lab, a garden bed, a greenhouse, and a technology-based exploratorium. iLEAD Agua Dulce is conveniently located on the east side of the Santa Clarita Valley, just off the 14 freeway. Check out our homeschool options too. To schedule a campus tour or learn more about our programs, visit iLEADAguadulce.org. We're enrolling now. iLEAD Schools. Free to think, inspired to lead.
Have you heard about Assistance League Retail Store? For a good time and a great deal and bargains that are an amazing steal, there are friendly volunteers ready to share a smile. So come on in and stay a while. We take donations on gently used goods, and proceeds from our sales stay in the neighborhood. So for a great buy and a special find, come visit our store anytime. Assistance League Resale Store located at 24369 Main Street in downtown Newhall.
Town Cleaners on Soledad is offering free dry cleaning for all first responders and medical personnel. Free pickup and delivery is also available. Call Mo at 250-1542. 250-1542. Town Cleaners on Soledad.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. Well, spring semester. Do you remember spring semester of your senior year? Have you been there? Is that in your rear view now? It was a magical time for me. I just absolutely loved spring semester of my senior year. In fact, I was going through old high school pictures. I remember it was probably April that we had a Spirit Week, and we had Toga Day on a day where the highs were in the low 40s. It was absolutely freezing. Terrible time for Toga Day, and I remember rather than wrapping a bed sheet around me, I grabbed the fluffy bedspread and wore that as my toga. That was something that I was quite proud of in high school. It's spring semester during your senior year should be a magical time with all the different events, prom, senior trip, graduation. That's what it's supposed to be, but COVID had other plans this year and really upended senior year for the class of 2020. It's been really difficult on them, but we at Eye on the Valley want to honor our seniors by spotlighting a few of them from our local high schools over the next couple of weeks. And so today we are joined by Casandra Crossman. She's a senior at SCVi Charter School. Good morning, Cassie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. It's good to talk to you. You and I have known each other for quite a while, haven't we?
Yes.
We have. But why don't you go ahead and tell the rest of our audience a little bit about yourself. Who are you? How long have you lived in Santa Clarita? What are some of your interests? What is it that makes Cassie, Cassie?
Well, I'm Cassie Croasmun, and I'm a senior at SCVi. I've lived in Santa Clarita for 15 years,
wow.
And I've been at SCVi for 8 years. In my free time, I volunteer at the Santa Clarita Valley Historical Society. I'm also involved in theater production at my school, specifically lighting design, and I'm on student council.
Oh, wow. You are quite involved. That is fantastic. And you mentioned you've been at SCVi for 8 years now?
Yes.
And so that is because SCVi is not just a high school. SCVi is actually, I believe, and I could be wrong here, I believe it is our Valley's only comprehensive school where you can attend from actually transitional kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. We've got those 4.5-year-olds all the way up to seniors in high school. It's kind of a cool environment where younger siblings and older siblings can still attend the same school. And if you're not familiar with our campus, we're right out there off of Newhall Ranch Road on the west side of Santa Clarita. You can look us up and come take a tour. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Casandra Crossman. So, Cassie, tell us, what have been some of your most memorable experiences at your school? As you're getting ready, you're kind of looking forward, but you're also looking back. What have you enjoyed most about school?
We've done a lot of really exciting projects at SCVi, but one of my favorites was the Civil War reenactment. I was able to take on the persona of Mary Todd Lincoln, which is Abraham Lincoln's wife. Mm-hmm. I was very fascinated with her during my middle school experience, so I was able to become her for that day. and I helped plan the abolitionist rally and the dinner party. And then in my junior year of high school, I was offered a scholarship to study abroad, and I chose to go to the Czech Republic. And I went with teenagers from all over the United States, and we stayed in Prague and got to see a bunch of cultural sites in the Czech Republic, and we also went to Berlin, Germany.
Wow, I did not know that. How long were you in the Czech Republic?
We were there for 2 weeks.
That is amazing. What a phenomenal opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Wow, that is terrific. That's certainly memorable. That is, wow, amazing. And now getting back to the Civil War reenactment, it's more than just a battle reenactment. As you mentioned, you were involved in planning, an abolitionist dinner and rally. You portrayed Mary Todd Lincoln. Was there something in particular that you learned about Mary Todd Lincoln that you found fascinating?
I learned a lot about her struggles. After Abraham Lincoln died, she was a really strong woman. She went through a lot in her life, and she was still able to come out and be very positive. And she did a lot for abolitionists, and she was involved in the women's rights movement. And I found it really interesting to portray her.
That
because
is interesting.
There was a lot of tragedy in her life, but she was still a really wonderful and positive person.
That is, she really dealt with a whole lot, and you're right, to keep kind of a stiff upper lip as all those different things are going on around her is certainly tough, but that's what leaders do. So tell me, Cassie, as we're doing distance learning, it's tough because you're missing all these different events, but how's school going this second semester in your senior year with working at home and not being able to be at school?
It's not my ideal type of learning, but it is a pretty small price to pay for the health and safety of the people around me in my community. So I've gotten used to it.
That's a great point. I love that you see it as, yes, I'm giving up quite a bit, but I'm doing it to help take care of myself and others. That's beautifully selfless. So what do you miss most about not being on campus? I know there's those different events, but is there anything else on the daily that you miss about not being on campus?
I miss my facilitators a lot. I've been able to connect with them a lot over the past 4 years, and now I'm only able to see a couple of them in Zoom classes, and the ones that I don't have classes with, I'm not really able to talk to them. And I miss being able to work in the theater and seeing my friends all the time.
Yeah, I know you're active in the theater as well, and that's got to be really tough. But now let's keep it real. There's got to be some benefits to it as well. Is there anything that you're kind of enjoying as far as distance learning goes?
Before I started social distancing, I had a really busy schedule. I was after school from 8:30 in the morning to 8 p.m. every day. So it's kind of nice to have that extra free time and be able to put more effort into my work and kind of explore more of my passions before I go off to college.
Well, that's cool. It's nice that you're taking advantage of that time and like you said, exploring some of your passions. Yeah, I know how hard you work with school and the theater and all the other different things going on as well. So that's nice that you're taking advantage of that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look forward. What have you got going on next year after graduation?
I'm planning to attend University of Illinois at Chicago for anthropology.
You're studying anthropology. Wow, that's fantastic. And do you have something in mind that you want to do with that degree, or is that just something that's always fascinated you, or both?
Both, actually. I would like to curate museums, and I would like to study other cultures. So.
Wow, that's fascinating. Any museum in particular that you're interested in?
I think it would be quite nice to curate the Louvre, but that's kind of a big dream. So.
Hey, set your sights high, right? If
yeah.
You're gonna shoot for the stars. I love that. Okay, so question, do you have any idea what campus life is going to be like next semester as you move into the fall? And are you going to be heading to Chicago? Have they made an announcement yet? What do you think classes are going to be like as you start your freshman year?
Right now, all I know is that they're planning to not have any classes that are over 70 people in person.
Okay, that seems like the wise thing to do. Okay, so
yes.
Just kind of cutting down on classroom norms a little bit, but you do think you're planning on heading to Chicago. You're not going to be doing distance learning next semester, you don't think?
I really hope so.
Yeah, we've all got kind of our fingers crossed. I think I've got a son who's a senior as well, and nobody's really sure. We're kind of hoping so. All right, Cassie, here we go. It is grad night, and I'm giving you the microphone. This is time for your graduation speech. You've got another minute or two, so let's go ahead and lay it out there. Is there anything that you'd like to say to your family, to your friends, your facilitators, classmates, and the rest of the radio listeners out there? What would you like to say?
Okay. Welcome, friends, family, and fellow graduates. We have finally made it through high school, and some of us will continue our education in new places, some of us will enter the workforce, and some of us will take the next year to explore new passions. Regardless, our experiences at SCVi have brought us to this point. I began attending this school when I was 9 years old. I was small and shy and eager to be part of a new place. I was convinced that SCVi was a different world, and I stand by that. I came from traditional school, and my notions about education, mainly that it was only meant for certain kids, that it was purely academic, and that it was inherently a difficult experience, were consistently proved wrong at SCVi. These notions were proved wrong by facilitators who took interest in my passions and allowed me to explore them in every project and every assignment. They were proved wrong by staff that said hello to me every day, remembered my name, and continued to say hello to me throughout high school, even years after I had first met them. I couldn't imagine a better place to have grown up, to have become myself. SCVi has given me my closest friends, some of my favorite memories, and the opportunities that led me to understanding myself and the world around me. The school allowed me to travel outside of the country, to explore passions such as theater, student government, and politics, and it allowed me to discover myself and my limits with endless support from those around me.
Cassie, that is fantastic. That is so beautiful. We appreciate it. Oh, wow. That is amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to honor you and the rest of SCVi and the Valley's graduates. And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it is our pleasure. It is time for us to check in on local and national news stories and latest updates, so we do have to get going, but I want you to stick around. When we come back, we're going to be talking with the Associate Director of Job Placement for Workforce Development at COC, Keri Ave. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers, with your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
The Oasis treatment at the Ivy Day Spa begins with a gentle exfoliation, then rinsed away in warm showers. You're painted with a soothing aloe vera, shea butter, and coconut oil body mask. Then travel through the warm Hydro Cave chambers. The relaxation chamber completes your Oasis body moisturizing treatment with a pH balancing mist and a warm cup of tea. Feel refreshed, hydrated, and relaxed. Pamper yourself. The Ivy Day Spa, Town Center Drive.
I'm Matt Denny, CPA, with Denny & Company, LLP, your hometown CPAs. Here are some tips to help you with anxiety you may have about your income tax returns for 2019. The deadlines for filing both state and federal returns have been extended to July 15. Both the state and the feds are also extending the time for making 2019 tax payments otherwise due, without interest or penalty, to July 15. These details keep changing, so contact us at 661-286-8860 or see our website at dennyllp.com.
Hi, it's Rick Garcia from my radio show with Rick Garcia here on KHTS. Man, it seems like it's been forever since we sat down in a restaurant and enjoyed a meal with our family and friends. As the clock counts down to the expiration of the stay-at-home order on May 15th, a lot of our local businesses are working hard, getting ready to reopen, including restaurants. Ultimately, it's up to our local restaurants to come up with safety plans moving forward. But we can help too. Plan on no more than an hour of dining out. If we don't linger, it allows more turnover for the restaurant, which in turn provides more business for them and more tips for servers who are on the front line. In other words, it's a win-win. Together, we can create a new normal for Santa Clarita that's safe and enjoyable.
Save water and save money. SCVi Water wants to help you find your fit and take advantage of conservation rebate programs that will help you save. Water your landscape more efficiently. Replace your lawn with water-wise plants. Conduct free in-home water surveys. Cover your swimming pool and more. Find the programs that fit your needs and start saving today. Visit conserve.yourscvwater.com to learn more.
That's conserve.yourscvwater.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 10 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
Not yet. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That bottom line from the New York City Mayor, Bill de Blasio, as the New York governor weighs when to start reopening where in the state with the most coronavirus cases and deaths.
We have our daily indicators. The state has their indicators. We're all working together. They're all valuable measures. By both sets of measures, we're clearly not ready yet.
De Blasio says they still need more testing capacity. Governor Cuomo says he wants to avoid the backtracking that some other countries have had to do from reopening too quickly. The White House reportedly recommending that all nursing home residents and staff be tested for coronavirus. AP citing a video teleconference between the vice president and governors recommending those tests happen in the next 2 weeks. The Iowa governor, who recently visited the White House, says she did not have direct contact with an aide to the vice president who has since tested positive. Meantime, a spokesman says Vice President Pence is following the advice of health officials but is not in quarantine. The Justice Department is now reviewing the shooting death of an unarmed black man by two white men in the town of Brunswick, Georgia. It happened in February. Murder charges were announced last week by state investigators who'd been requested by an outside prosecutor after a video surfaced.
The man who video recorded the shooting death of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery in a neighborhood outside Brunswick, Georgia, is getting threats himself.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. I mean, if that's what they wanted to do was scare me, they've scared me.
William Bryan is also now under investigation. It was his video that shows Arbery's killing, allegedly by Gregory and Travis McMichael.
Fox's Evan Brown. The suspects initially telling investigators they thought Arbery was a burglar. Arbery's family says he was out for a run. A Justice Department spokeswoman says they'll determine whether federal hate crimes charges are appropriate. America is listening to Fox News.
Pros. Lowe's wants to help you keep working. That's why we're open for Pro Business Hours 6 to 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday. You'll find the quantities you expect with dedicated Pro associates and loaders to help you get what you need fast and load you up curbside. Now, more than ever, we know you need to win every single bid. You can count on Lowe's for special values on Pro trusted brands and savings when you buy in bulk. Save yourself a trip by shopping Lowe'sForPros.com, where we can ship thousands of items to your doorstep or to the job site. Lowe's is open and Pro ready.
Right now, the world feels different as we stay apart to make sure we can safely come back together. Till then, there is something you can do without even leaving your home. Respond to the 2020 census online, by phone, or by mail. The census impacts where hundreds of billions in federal funding will go for things like hospitals, schools, and roads. Now is the time to go to 2020census.gov. It's as easy as it is important. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
More arrests in Venezuela after a recently botched raid.
Venezuela's interior minister announced the arrest of 3 more men in the failed raid to topple President Nicolas Maduro. All 3 are former members of the Venezuelan military. Former U.S. Army Green Berets Aaron Berry and Luke Denman were captured by Maduro's forces last week. 8 of the so-called freedom fighters were killed as they reached the beach. 34 others were captured. Maduro says the failed plot was organized by authorities in Colombia and the United States. President Trump denies the accusation. At the Pentagon, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
U.S. defense officials have also denied any involvement. An about-face by the British government on masks, telling people to cover their mouth and nose in shops, buses, and subway trains, part of a plan to gradually lift a nationwide lockdown imposed 7 weeks ago. Prime Minister Boris Johnson extending most of the restrictions, but he says people will be allowed to do more outdoor activities starting Wednesday, and that those who can't work from home should be actively encouraged to go to work. Critics say it's confusing. A career that spanned generations being remembered today from a family that spawned more than one star of comedy.
Many remember Jerry Stiller from his Seinfeld days as George Costanza's father, Frank.
A new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
Following the NBC show with a 9-season run on The King of Queens, the dad of actors Amy and Ben Stiller was born in Brooklyn, New York during the Great Depression. He got his start in the 50s alongside wife Ann Mira, the two considered a top comedy act, often appearing on The Ed Sullivan Show. He'd also performed Shakespeare and appeared in several movies, including Zoolander, with son Ben Stiller, who shared in a tweet Monday that his 92-year-old father passed away from natural causes. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
And Lisa Brady. And this is Fox News.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
He broke records and piloted the F-18 Super Hornet in combat. Answering our nation's call, he served with honor. Then Mike Garcia returned home to his family, to a far worse California from where he grew up. Now, Garcia's next mission: cut taxes, clean up homelessness in our cities. With California on the brink, we need a fighter to answer the call once again. Mike Garcia for Congress.
I'm Mike Garcia, and I approve this message.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
As the stay-at-home order continues, Burger King is committed to following state and federal safety guidelines when it comes to serving you, the customer. Although in-restaurant dining has closed, pickup and delivery service continues. The current hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can mobile order through the BK app for pickup, or you can use any of the delivery services like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Postmates. Burger King on Lyons at the 5 Freeway, now with service at 2 drive-through windows.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to, wow, that sounded like the beginning of Welcome Back, Cotter. I won't sing it for you, though. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host. You're listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. And if you're on Facebook Live, you may be watching Homeschooling Answers with Eye on the Valley. That's right, you can catch us on Facebook Live. Just head on over to Facebook and pull up KHTS Radio. We are probably the top post by KHTS right now, just because we were the most recent. It's that salmon color background there. You'll see the Eye on the Valley logo, and you can look in on the studio with us. And I mentioned it in the top of the hour, but it always bears repeating. If you're looking in here on the studio, I say us because there are more than one of us here in the studio. I've got my brilliant engineer Shane here, who's keeping the dials twisted and making sure that we're staying on the air. A couple of folks do like to lean into the studio and ask why I'm wearing a mask when I'm in here by myself, and it's because I can't do anything in here by myself. I've got Shane in here all the time, and as soon as he steps away to get a drink of water, it freaks me out. So welcome back. We're glad you're joining us. We're joined now by our next guest, Keri Ave. She's got an amazing job and role over at College of the Canyons. She is the Director of Job Placement with College of the Canyons. Keri Ave has been with COC, helping students and community members gain employment for nearly 10 years now. She successfully ran the Santa Clarita America's Job Center for the college for 5 years before taking over responsibility for developing COC's job placement program and career center to support their students and alumni in gaining employment. She has an extensive background of effective employee and student career development in business, workforce industry, and academic settings, with more than 20 years combined experience in operations management, presentation skills, career services, employer relations, staff training, and team leadership. She studied at the University of Minnesota and Excelsior College at the University of New York, receiving her degree in sociology, and she would later go on to earn her master's in educational counseling from the University of La Verne. She's a certified pathways professional, a certified business coach, a certified career services provider, and a global career development facilitator. She's going to get you that job, and the right job at that. Good morning, Keri. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So you are in charge of the job fair at COC. Is that correct?
I'm leading the team for it. Yeah, that's correct.
All righty. And this year, job fair is going virtual because everything's going virtual this year, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. Yep.
So tell us what a virtual job fair is. When you say job fair, I see myself milling around the parking lot over there at COC talking to various employers. So how does that work virtually?
Well, there's different ways, actually, just so that anyone listening knows there are different types of virtual job fairs. The way that we're doing it is we've set it up where the employers that register will each have their own chat room, a virtual chat room online, that the job seekers will step into during the job fair, and they'll be able to talk to the recruiting, the recruiters from the companies, the HR professionals that are looking to fill their open positions. So it's sort of like a mini group interview because there could be up to 30 people in that room listening to what the employer has to say about their company, the job openings they have, what they're looking for, and being able to ask them questions.
Okay, so the person seeking the job is able to ask questions, and then does it also go the other way, where that prospective employer is asking questions of the folks that are there looking for jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. It's intended to be kind of a non-threatening, comfortable way to talk to employers. The employers, if you engage them in some questions, they may come back with, well, what's your background in that area? What type of experience do you have in that area? And the job seeker can tell them a little bit about what they're doing. And typically what happens in a virtual chat room like that is the employer, somewhere in the course of the presentation, is going to share with them how they can move to the next step if they're interested in the positions they're offering. And in some cases, they'll be reflecting, hey, send your resume. It sounds like you might be a great fit for this position. Or go to our website and apply, and, I'll give you a call later today to schedule an interview. So it just varies on, how active the participants, the job seekers are. I do encourage them when they get in there to ask questions, to talk about what they're bringing to the table and why they're asking those specific questions.
Sounds like actually a really innovative way of handling this rather than folks milling around, like I said, a parking lot. That sounds great. So who can participate and how do they register?
It's open to this particular virtual job fair we're doing is actually regional. So it's being marketed to students and alumni throughout all the community colleges from here up to San Luis Obispo over to Antelope Valley. But it's also open to the public. So basically, you can go to our website, cocjobfair.com, and as the employers are adding in, they populate their profiles, and then it'll start listing what positions they're looking to fill. But you'll see what employers are there, and if it's employers that have the types of positions that whether you're a student, alumni, or a community member looking for employment, you'll see if there's some that are a good fit for you, then I encourage you to just register at that website. There's links for you to register so that you can participate. It's as easy as that. There's no fee.
That's great. When is the job fair taking place, Keri?
The job fair is coming up in June. It's actually 2 days, split over 2 days, June 11th and June 12th from 9 to noon. There's different employers on each day, so that the job seekers have the opportunity to, see a wider variety of employers. Our on-site job fairs usually had about 100 employers. We do have the capacity at this job fair to host 40 employers each day. So I also want to encourage, if there's employers out there still looking to fill, open positions or starting, stopping their hiring freezes and starting to hire now, to jump in and participate. The sooner we get them on there, the more job seekers will know that they're participating and be able to check out their opportunities too.
We're in phase 2 now, and it's time to get back to work, and we're going to have to start to rebuild that job force. And I know a lot of businesses are going newer directions as this shutdown has forced a lot of us to innovate. That is really cool. So you're looking at having 40 different employers each day, so possibly 80 employers total during the 2 days. Is that right?
I would love to have that many, but we can host up to that many. So it depends on how many employers register to participate. I want to say we have about a dozen that have not registered yet because they're waiting for their hiring freezes to end later this week.
Yeah.
So we'll start seeing a lot more next week. Right now we have about, about seven or eight employers, and that will just continue to grow between now and the days of the job fair.
Yeah, I'm sure as things clear up as the month of May wears on, you're going to get a whole lot more people or a lot more companies registering for that, and so it's going to be important for job seekers to attend both days because there's going to be different companies on the 2 days. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely, and to prepare for it just like they would an on-site job fair. It's important that they don't just show up and pop into a room without having prepared and knowing something about the employer.
Absolutely. That's, first impressions are really, really important. So is there anything else that people should do? Just they go with the mindset that this is a regular job fair. Anything else that they should do? Do people need to have a resume ready to go, or is there anything else that they should be prepared with?
No, absolutely. I mean, leading up to the job fair, they definitely want to research the companies that are participating. Like I said, since they could be adding each day up to the job fair, they'll want to check back even the day before. If there's new employers, they want to go to their website, see what they do, check out the types of positions they have. If they have open positions, go ahead and apply for those positions. Make sure you know as much about what's happening in that company as possible. Maybe network to see if you know someone that works in the company that can tell you a little bit about company culture. And then customize your resume and a cover letter for the person that you want to connect with that could open up an interview opportunity for you. So customizing it based on, what they're looking for in that position, what the employer really wants for that position, and the skills and experience or education that you have that makes you a good fit for that. So it's not just a generic resume you're handing someone, because you need to, when you get into that chat room, what you really want to do to get the most bang for your buck is to be able to express to that employer why you're a good fit for that position in that company. And so you need to do that pre-work, that pre-research in order to be able to do that.
That is really good advice. Rather than having one resume that you're sending out to everybody, have a resume and cover letter that's customized to each different job that you're applying for, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it can be foundational, but,
sure.
In a snapshot, your resume, should have customized content when you send it out to the employer. When I talk to job seekers and they say, oh, I can't get a job, I sent out, especially in a climate like this where so many people are unemployed and the whole employment has shifted, who's hiring, who's not. They can't find work. They're just applying and applying and applying. 5% of those applications could turn into an interview. The way you can increase that number is by customizing that content, showing your accomplishments. Employers want to see, what did you do well at your other jobs? What did you accomplish? Not just your skills. They want to see the skills you have, but they also want to know what you did well and really want your resume to be able to answer what's in it, basically for them or for the recruiter. The format also in resumes, you have to make sure that It will help you clear applicant tracking systems, recruiting software. Otherwise, you could get, if you're just sending out resumes, your resume could get ruled out before you even get seen by people that can make the decision to schedule an interview with you. And then finally, figuring out, doing informational interviews or doing things to try to connect with those employers that you've sent out these customized resumes to, so that you can become more visible to employers in the job search process.
You know, that's really interesting. I never really thought about the idea that it could be a robot that's sorting my resume out before it even gets into the hands of the people that I want looking at it. That is really interesting. And you talk about highlighting our accomplishments, the things that we've been able to do, maybe initiatives that we've moved forward, but then also, again, customizing it, making sure that it's relevant for the company that we're applying for. There may be one company that I guess gets or is more attracted by one of my accomplishments than the other. I want to make sure that I highlight that one, and then vice versa when I'm applying to that other company, correct?
Well, sort of, yeah, sort of. The accomplishments, so if you worked, let's say you worked at 4 companies before, regardless of what they were. If you're a 19-year-old, College of Canyons graduate, or you're, a 40-year-old person with 10 years of experience under your belt, each place that you put on there where you worked, in the past, we used to have bullet points that kind of listed off. I did this, I did that, I did this too. Oh, I can do this, and I can do that. Now employers are saying, well, that's great. Okay, if you put down customer service rep, I know what a customer service rep does. Okay. What I want to know is, what did you do well? So an example I'll give you is, if you're you work for a company, maybe you did some temping, and you were an administrative assistant, and you answered phones, and you did filing. Was kind of the foundation of what you did. Now you put that on there. You say, I answered phones, and I was responsible for the filing. That doesn't look anything different than anybody else on their resume. So what you need to do is you need to customize that for, in part, what you did, so quantifying, describing more, not just telling them what you did, but describing more. So, I worked at, answered phones in a busy mortgage company with 400 to 600 phone calls coming in every hour, or 2 hours, or whatever the time frame was, and it was my responsibility to ensure that they got to the right person to, solve their problems, right? So giving more details. Oh, it was a busy office. You weren't just sitting there. I had a job as a temp when I first came to California many years ago, and I literally sat there all day and I played video games because there was no. It was a great position. Nobody came in. Nobody called, but I had this job.
Yeah, that's good work if you can get it, Keri.
But so I would have to be very creative in how I would describe that position too. But so giving more details, and then, so going back to like an administrative assistant example, so people say, well, but I never got an award for customer service, or nobody ever recognized me for doing a great job as the receptionist. Okay, but what do you think you did well? What do you feel good about in that job? What did you step up and accomplish? So that same person that's thinking, oh, I don't know, didn't really have anything, maybe they came in there, and when the staff was coming up saying, hey, I need this file, hey, I need that file, she always had to hunt for it, or he always had to hunt for it, looking in different file cabinets, figuring out where it was. And they got tired of that and said, you know what, I can do this better. And they reorganized that whole system in the front with all the files and everything, so that in the future things ran more efficiently. So whenever someone came up and asked for a file, they could just simply hand it to them. They didn't have to hunt for it. So they could put on their resume, reorganized entire filing system to create a more efficient process flow and better customer service.
And I can imagine that that's something that an employer would ask about. They would maybe ask for clarification on, under whose initiative did you do that? Oh, well, my boss told me to do it, versus I saw that it wasn't working well, and so I restructured. It makes a huge difference, and it communicates to employers that you're one that is proactive and will take initiative to improve systems around the workplace, regardless of what they might be.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Matt, that's so important, because our society, our work environments are changing so rapidly now that employers need employees that are resilient, that are assertive, that have an entrepreneurial kind of out-of-the-box mindset, that they're able to think, how can we do this better? How can I improve this? And being assertive enough to bring it to their supervisors or managers if they can't implement it without their approval, to say, hey, what do you think about this? that is a home run. And so you're right. When they can talk about that to potential employers, are already as though they're in the role, and well, this is what I did over here, and that's the way I approach things. Then that employer is already looking at how would that look in our organization? How would that person look? Are they a good fit for what we're doing? And I can't think of any employer that wouldn't see someone that is assertive, a resilient, out-of-the-box thinker that's proactive as a good fit within the organization.
Right. It's everybody, every boss, every manager loves someone that takes direction, right? Nobody wants to face resistance, but,
sure.
Especially in a job market like today's, you've got to take that extra step. You've got to show initiative, not only the ability to take direction, but the ability to take leadership when it requires it, and even when it's not required. So employers really are looking for that. We do have to take a quick break, but I wanted to ask you, before we moved on too far, you mentioned how sometimes there's software that will actually sort out our resume before it ever gets into the hands of someone that makes the ultimate decision. Is there anything that prospective employees can do to make sure that their resume makes it through that initial digital hurdle?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot they can do, actually, but two of the key things to watch for is, one, keywords. So these applicant tracking systems, the way they work is the employer puts in keywords that they want you to have in your resume. And the more of those keywords that you have that show your match for that position, and they're sprinkled throughout the job description, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to make you a closer match to that position that they're trying to fill. So you have to make sure that your resume has that in there. Plus, if let's say Excel is something they want, if you put it in there once, but it's a big part of the job, you want to stand out, you got to make sure it's in more than one place on your resume, because depending on the algorithm or the way that particular system works, you'll come up of more of a match if you have it in there more than once, if it's some of the key things they're looking for. And the other thing is format. So, I see some beautiful resumes, and in creative fields, graphics, and media, entertainment, arts, you want an attention-getting resume, but you have to be cautious. Using color to be attention-getting will not create problems for you in an applicant tracking system. But if you start getting into adding pictures, adding text boxes, first off, content in the text boxes, depending on the applicant tracking system, may never be seen by the applicant tracking system. So if that's where your keywords are, you're not going to get through.
Well, that's
you won't see it at all. If there's columns, depending on how you structure the columns, what people don't realize is some applicant tracking systems remove the column formatting, and now what you had in the column on the right has now been merged together with what was in your column on the left.
And now you've got the bulk of your work experience and your talents no longer making grammatical sense. Wow.
Yes.
I had no idea. It's some important things that we need to do in order to get past that robot. We are talking this morning with Director of Job Placement with COC, Keri Ave. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we want you to stay tuned. We're going to continue this conversation, and she's going to help us all land that dream job when we get back. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, SCV.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVi, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLEAD's founding school, SCVi combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVi has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLEADSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Aloha, friends! Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
And now for your convenience, a second Honu location at 23502 Lyons Avenue between Peachland and Apple.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
Time for a car wash, but fearful of the scratches that go along with it? Canny Car Wash and Valencia Car Wash proudly use 100% lamb's cloth to prevent scratches and provide the best wash possible. Both locations use environmentally friendly solutions to wash and wax your vehicle, and they both accept all other car wash coupons. Give your vehicle the wash it deserves. Visit Canny Car Wash on Soledad across from Edwards Cinema, or Valencia Car Wash on Creekside Road behind Target.
Town Cleaners on Soledad is offering free dry cleaning for all first responders and medical personnel. Free pickup and delivery is also available. Call Mo at 250-1542. 250-1542. Town Cleaners on Soledad.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. You're listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson. We're talking this morning with Kerry Ave, Associate Director of Job Placement for Workforce Development with College of the Canyons. And Kerry, we were talking off the air about how things have changed. You know, I mentioned when I was a kid and you know, even when I got into my teaching career, I kind of found it easy. And I don't mean to sound arrogant, but, you know, I would go in, I would apply for a job, and I kind of knew the ins and outs of interviewing, and I could make myself stand out. I was always hardworking. And so I typically, when I would go to apply for a job, I would be offered the job. And then in 2011, something happened. I was living in South America at the time, and I was applying for teaching positions up here in the States, and I sent out over 100 resumes, and I only got 3 callbacks, and I wasn't used to that. It was kind of a blow to the ego. It was also really stressful since I had a wife and kids and a mortgage that were kind of depending on Dad getting a job. And you were explaining how things kind of made a shift maybe between the last time I had applied. So what is it that people who are, what job seekers are up against now that we weren't dealing with a couple of decades ago or even 10 years ago?
Wow, there's so much. I mean, there's really so much. But in the last 10 years, there was a shift with the last recession where employers went from, you know, having maybe 20, 30 applicants for a position to having hundreds of applicants for those same positions. So they didn't necessarily have the staff or the, you know, the ability. If you get 30 resumes, you can review each of them and see, you know, who you want to interview. If you get a few hundred, that same person doesn't have enough hours to do that. And so that's the advent of the applicant tracking system or recruiting software that resumes, whether you attach them to something online or you send them in to someone, they run them through these applicant tracking systems basically to streamline processes so that they can get those people that they already know, okay, these are the ones that at least have indicated on their resume that they are the closest match for this position. And then they start there with looking at the resumes. So that was when things had to change for job seekers. You know, at that point they had to figure out, well, how do I make sure I stand out then if I'm going to be applying and there's hundreds of others applying? So there was a shift in the approach. So that's where the customizing, like we talked about, customizing your resume really became super important, including those keywords. Actually having it match, I didn't mention this, and I think we'll talk about it a little bit later, but having your LinkedIn profile, having a complete LinkedIn profile, not for all industries, but most, that backs up what you're saying in your resume too, but utilizing these keywords in your resume so that when it gets to an application tracking system, you don't get ruled out. The other thing that I mentioned to you was that formatting is really important in a resume. If you want to make it through the applicant tracking system, you know, there's a lot of beautiful resumes out there, and certainly graphics or media-type resumes should be more appealing visually too, but you have to be careful about how you format it. You know, using color is fine to amp it up a bit, but when you start adding text boxes or pictures, graphics, and especially if the keywords you want to get across are in those text boxes, that applicant tracking system may not read that, and you may never get that chance to interview. So you have to really be careful. I think what I mentioned to you about is columns is that on a resume, if somebody puts a resume together with two different columns, depending on the applicant tracking system that the company has, it could remove that formatting for the columns, and everything that was in your right column has now just scooted over and merged with the stuff on your left column, and now it's not making any sense at all. So again, it may not pick up what you need it to get you through the applicant tracking system.
Keri, I'm seeing this as an interesting game of dominoes falling down. With the rise of the internet, employers have access to a much, much larger pool of candidates for their jobs, and so they've had to go to a digital or go to some sort of software that allows them to track and kind of weed through the chaff, if you will, of applicants. And so, say, for example, 15, 20 years ago, where the job called for someone proficient in, to use your example, Excel. Maybe I'm not proficient in Excel, but I know that I can wow them and I can learn Excel later. And so just get me my foot in the door, and then I'll talk to them about how maybe they can overlook that deficiency. If I don't have that on my application, I'm not even able to get my foot in the door. And then, so now does that knock down the next domino? Would you recommend that applicants hire some sort of coach or someone like yourself to help them understand what different companies are looking for? If this company's using this applicant tracking system, then you need to make sure that this is or is not on your resume?
Well, you know, and you don't have to hire me. I'm free, sort of. But, you know, the college pays for us. You know, we have for students and alumni of College of the Canyons, they can come to us at no cost, and we'll help them with all this stuff. But there's lots of other resources, you know, online now. I mean, I love being in the internet age. There's tons of resources to help you prepare. But I think it is important, especially if you're in job search mode for the first time, you know, in the last decade or, you know, in recent times, that you do learn more about what it takes, because there are different nuances. So that example you said about Excel. Now, an employer, you know, you may be able to impress an employer enough that they want to hire you, even though, as you put it, that you have a deficiency if you don't if you don't have that Excel and they want Excel. So on your resume, and this actually Excel, this years ago in the 90s when I spotted a job when I came to California. I was always self-employed, but I didn't know what I wanted to do in California yet, so I wanted to go out and land a job. And they needed Excel. Well, I'd been running companies and corporations. I'd used all sorts of proprietary finance software and things, but I had not used Excel. So on my resume, even though they didn't have applicant tracking systems, there was a person at that time that was screening them. I had to get Excel on there because it was a requirement of the job. So the way I put it was familiar with Excel. But before I put familiar with Excel, I said, I have extensive experience utilizing a wide variety of financial software. with familiarity with Excel. And so when I got the interview, I went online. Now I would use LinkedIn Learning, now that there's LinkedIn Learning. But in the past, I would have just gone online and done a Google search and looked for some kind of free Excel training. Microsoft had a free course online that took about 2 hours on a weekend. I learned everything I've ever needed to know about Excel to be able to use Excel.
Again, it's all about being proactive, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is, yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to the job fair that you're organizing. I loved hearing you say that your services are available for free. And of course, I think everybody would expect them for students at College of the Canyons, but also for alumni. You work with anybody who has graduated from COC in the past, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
And now this job fair on June 11th and 12th, that's open for COC students, alumni, and everybody else, isn't it?
It is. It's absolutely open to the public, students, alumni, new job seekers, people that maybe during this pandemic had started thinking, maybe I want to make a shift. And we're also going to be offering, keep an eye on our landing page at canyons.edu/career center if you're a job seeker that is not a COC alumni or student. In helping them, we're going to be doing a lot more live online job clubs and employer spotlights, things that will allow our students and also the general public to help them in their job search too.
I love how helpful you guys at COC are in every department we've talked to. We've been talking for the last month or so now with different departments at COC. I love how you always loop in the community. You provide a tremendous amount of service for your students, for your alumni, but then you also go that extra mile to reach out to the community at large, regardless of whether or not they've ever enrolled at the college. That is fantastic. So one more time, where can folks, whether they're employers looking for people to hire or job seekers looking for a job, where can they go to get more information about that virtual job fair?
They can go to cocjobfair.com.
Okay,
cocjobfair.com. It's really easy.
And our producer, Sarah, has posted that on our Facebook Live feed, so if you're looking for that link, you can just head on over to there. Now, Keri, you've mentioned it a couple of times, so I do want to follow up. You've talked about everything that LinkedIn can do for us. How beneficial is it to have a LinkedIn profile as a job seeker? Because, I was talking to a friend recently who was looking for a job, and I said, do you have a LinkedIn profile? And his response to me was, I don't do social media. And I thought, it's a little bit more different than that. Is it important to have a profile that's up to date and active on LinkedIn?
It sure is. I mean, it's funny, and I get a lot of job seekers and a lot of students or alumni that also say, I don't do social media. The reality is, whether you like it or not, you do social media because when you apply for a job, one of the first things the employer will do oftentimes before they'll even interview you, maybe they've picked out 20 potential candidates for an interview. Now they're going to go on to social media and they're going to take a look and see if what's out there about you matches what your resume says. Now there's rules about what they can look at and what they can't, but when it comes to LinkedIn is the world's largest professional networking site. And so for them to go on LinkedIn, what you're putting out there is not about how many kids you have, and, different barriers you have to employment. What you're putting out there is, this is what I have to offer, and this is the types of opportunities I'm looking for. And so if you're just barely active on LinkedIn, because it takes very little after you've designed your LinkedIn profile, after you've set up your LinkedIn profile, it takes very little to remain active on LinkedIn. And when you do that, an employer goes to search and see, what your presence is online. LinkedIn will be the first thing at the top of the list that comes up, and that's exactly what you want. You want them to go there because it helps you and the employer, right? You get to put out there what you're about. This is what I'm passionate about. This is the skills that I have and experience. This is how I want to use it. And the employer gets to look and see, are you a good fit for us? Do you want to do what we need someone to do in this role? And so it's incredibly helpful. The only ones I mentioned, not everyone is going to create profiles. So in certain positions, FBI, maybe the LAPD, law enforcement type jobs would frown probably on you having more of a footprint online. But all the others, it's only to your benefit to have a professional network that you can see, that it's visible. So Matt, would you say if I asked you for a list of 10 people, you could give me their first name, last name, and where they work?
Well, yeah, sure.
Okay. So now, if I ask you, okay, well, so you know those 10 people and where they work, project in the future a couple of years. You met some people through those 10 people, right?
Right.
You go out, okay, and you might remember their first names. Would it be safe to say you might remember their first names? Or, I met this person and they had this cool job over here at this company. So there's some other people, in other words, that you've met, but maybe you don't know exactly where they work or how to get in touch with them, right?
Right, yeah.
So with LinkedIn, what it does is it takes that network that you really already have and that you're really already building, and it makes it visible for you. So that now when I want to work at, John Doe Company, right? I go into LinkedIn, I put John Doe Company in there, and it tells me who I'm connected to that works or worked at that company, has a connection to that company. And if it's not someone I know, but if you and I are connected, and you know someone that works there, I'm going to be able to see that you're connected to that person. I can say, hey, Matt, remember me? I was on that radio show with you, on your radio show, and I see you're connected to this person, this company over here, and I really want to talk to them about what it's like to work in their company and what their hiring process is like. Could you introduce me? I'm not going to ask them to help me get a job. I just want to talk to them about what it's like to work there. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. That's really how it works. That's how it works. But if it's not visible, then I don't know that you know someone that works in that company.
Right. It's like that old school Rolodex that constantly updates itself for us. That's great.
Yeah. No more little black book.
That is terrific. All right, Keri, we've got just another minute or so, but before you go, I wanted to ask your advice for new college graduates. I think about high school graduates in this time and how difficult it is for them, but new college graduates are coming out into a world that is remarkably different than it was 6 weeks ago, and they're competing for new jobs with this massive force of folks that have been laid off or otherwise looking to shift. What advice would you give to new college graduates looking for work in the middle of a global pandemic?
Well, first, I want to be so encouraging because there is growth. There is a lot of employment growth right now.
Good.
So there's a shift, though. Just to give you an example, so Amazon about 2 weeks ago was looking at hiring about 75,000 new employees. Now, 2 weeks later, they're looking at filling 150,000 positions. We're not talking temporary positions. Companies, hospitals, Hollywood Presbyterian has many positions they're looking to fill. And when I said, are these temporary because of the pandemic, they said, no, these are permanent positions.
That's great.
So there's definite job growth, but the areas growing fastest may not be those that were growing fastest 6 months ago or 3 months ago. So it's time for job seekers to kind of regroup their skill sets, build their brand, utilizing something like LinkedIn, work with, career advisors, job developers that can help them, and prepare to take their skills where they're needed most. So you have your skill set, you have your strengths and abilities and talents that you want to offer someone, and you're exactly what we call a purple squirrel or a unicorn in the recruiting field, right? There are employers that want what you have, but you have to figure out which of those employers that need your skill set and target those employers. Don't just apply everywhere, willy-nilly. Like I said, if you send out 100 applicants, 5 of those might end up in an interview. That's a lot of work if you fill out 100, applications. But if you target the employers that have the types of work that needs your skill set, and you figure out how to connect to those employers, do informational interviews, as you're building your network, reach out to people, find out who knows someone that works in that company, so you can just talk to them about the hiring process, about working in the company, and make those internal connections. You will become visible much more quickly to those employers, and you're going to end up with a lot better opportunities. So that's really, I've been using this in training my staff to help our job seekers do this for over 10 years now, and I can tell you time and time again, that approach of targeting employers, customizing your brand so you know what you're offering, targeting the employers you want to work for, and figuring out how to connect internally is hands down, I believe, the most effective way to gain employment. But one little added thing, so you're saying, with the students that are looking now and we're in pandemic, there is a shift. There's so many opportunities right now. that you've never thought about. Maybe you're adjusting. Maybe you're transferring to another college and you're not looking for a permanent job yet. Maybe you need income coming in, but you don't know when you get to go back to school, or you don't know what tomorrow looks like, but you need some income coming in. There's so many remote opportunities. So if you have a laptop, a smartphone, a computer at home, internet access or whatnot, there's so many opportunities. Companies like support.com is one that has all virtual positions, and they're growing by leaps and bounds. And so for a young student that's graduating, they get into one of those positions, there's an opportunity for rapid growth in your career in companies like that are providing different types of customer service. Or if you're into the techie side of things, technical customer support, there's so many opportunities out there. There's opportunities for gig work. So if you already have a skill set, if you know how to do coding or create flyers or set up websites, or whatever your specialty is, the Small Business Development Center, College of the Canyons, has hands down one of the best small business development centers I've seen in the U.S. I've always used them for every business and corporation I've ever started and run. And they're at COCSBDC. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get the ending. .edu.com, .gov. I don't know. It's one of those, but it's COCSBDC, and they can help you get started. But there's sites like Gig Now for jobs at Ernst & Young. There's Upworks. There's all sorts of different sites that you can go to take the skills you already have and throw it out there to offer someone, hey, I can do that. I'll create that flyer for you for $100. I'll create your website for you for $800. I can do it for this amount of an hour, different things like that. There's so many opportunities right now for people to take those skills or that education that they have and start applying it in different ways to start bringing income in for them.
That is great to hear and such wonderful advice. Thank you so much, Keri. For more information on that job fair on June 11th and 12th, go over to cocjobfair.com. We appreciate you coming in, Keri. We appreciate everything that you're doing for your students, your alumni, and for the community. We do have to take our last commercial break, but please stay tuned. We've got Kristina de Bree, our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, coming up. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Dutton Plumbing, it's Eric.
It's Mother. Can you come over right away? It's urgent.
I'll be right there, Mom. Okay, I'm here. What's wrong?
It's been weeks since you had a haircut, so I want to give you a nice trim. Sit down.
Ooh, ow.
Gee, I can see myself in the back of your head, son.
Mom.
Oops.
What happened?
Never mind. It'll grow back. So, what's new at Dutton Plumbing, son?
Well, with so many people stuck at home, there's a lot of stuff getting stuck in their pipes. So, our $73 drain clearing is really keeping us busy.
Wait a minute. I bet the plumber's hair is getting shaggy, too. You tell them that Mom will cut their hair for just $73.
Isn't that a little high for a haircut, Mom?
Well, I'll toss in the manscaping for free.
Mom!
DuttonPlumbing.com. Mom's $73 drain clearing at DuttonPlumbing.com. Manscaping not included.
This is Bradley Gross from Santa Clarita Grocery. Santa Clarita Grocery serves fresh groceries to families, individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. At Santa Clarita Grocery, out of every dollar donated, a full 99 cents goes directly to the needs being addressed. As an all-volunteer-led organization, we operate on a 1% overhead, receiving no government funding for our operations in the community, resulting in us being one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're looking to support the good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery. What is donated is specifically kept in the Santa Clarita Valley, helping over 3,000 families, including 5 other community charities. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or visit us on social media or call us at 425-7575. That's 425-7575.
I'm Matt Denny, CPA, with Denny & Company, LLP, your hometown CPAs. Here are some tips to help you with anxiety you may have about your income tax returns for 2019. The deadlines for filing both state and federal returns have been extended to July 15. Both the state and the feds are also extending the time for making 2019 tax payments otherwise due, without interest or penalty, to July 15. These details keep changing, so contact us at 661-286-8860 or see our website at dennyllp.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. We're joined now by our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, Kristina de Bree. She has her practice here in Valencia. She's got an amazing story. Her own life is a story of trauma and grief and recovery and inspiration. We've been getting to know Kristina over the last several weeks, last actually month and a half, 2 months here on the show, and she's just so resourceful. If you haven't been listening, if you haven't gotten to know Kristina by now, shame on you. But she's got so much to offer her clients and her community. And let's get right to it. She's got speaking experience and expertise in so many different areas in the area of mental health. And like I said, she is a licensed marriage and family therapist, so she can support you and your family and all of your needs. Kristina, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to talk to you again. You know, all last week we talked about how May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so we're going to stay aware, and we're going to make sure other people stay aware and remember how important it is to make sure that we're staying physically sharp. You know, today is National Women's Checkup Day, so we're making sure that our female listeners have had all the checkups that they need. But that's not just physical checkups. We want to make sure that we stay mentally and emotionally healthy and sound as well. Last week we talked a little bit, we talked extensively about depression, and you discussed the link between depression and anxiety, and those are two it's almost like, when our parents they don't just get sick, they get sick and tired, right? Now, we often hear that people have depression and anxiety. They're very, very closely linked, but they're different things, different diagnoses, different issues that people deal with. So with our deep dive on depression last week, can we do the same this week with anxiety? Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So why don't you just start out by telling us what it is? What is anxiety? How does it manifest itself? How's it different from depression? What are we talking about when we talk about anxiety?
So anxiety is rooted in fear or panic. And while depression can be often about things that happened in the past, anxiety is often about what might happen in the future, influenced by what has already happened in the past. So what you see with anxiety would be trembling, increased breathing rate, feeling nervous or powerless, having a sense of impending danger or panic, a high heart rate, sweating. So that can overlap with depression with these three symptoms: restlessness, difficulty thinking, concentrating, or making decisions, excessive worrying, unexplained physical problems, and feeling agitated.
Okay, so I can definitely see the link between depression there. We've got just about one more minute. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about anxiety before we go deep for the rest of the week?
The anxiety really is the most common mental health issue, and 28% of the total population suffers from a form of anxiety, and it is also extremely treatable. So if you're someone that's dealing with anxiety, know that there are a wide array of options that are available.
That's fantastic. And like I said, we'll continue talking as the week goes on. So if you think that you may be dealing with anxiety, and I'm sure those numbers have gone up from 28% during the recent pandemic, I don't doubt, make sure that you stay tuned and you listen to Kristina the rest of the week as we take our deep dive on anxiety. But if you are struggling with anxiety, with depression, or anything else, please reach out to your healthcare provider. Make sure that you're getting the care that you need. And if you're not sure, why don't you just pick up the phone and call Kristina directly at 661-513-4857, 661-513-4857, or check out her website, KristinaDebray.com. I will make sure that is up on our Facebook feed. Kristina, again, thank you so much for your help. We look forward to talking to you tomorrow. That's all the time that we have for today, but we want to thank our guests, Regina Lee, the 14-year-old founder of Smile SCV, Casandra Crossman, Keri Aaver from College of the Canyons, Join us tomorrow and every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. We've got Mayor Cameron Smythe tomorrow, so send me your questions now and we'll get them in. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. This is your hometown station, KHTS.